Hi everyone, my name is Lotte Hill. I'm a paid media manager here at RocketMill, and today I'm going to tell you why CPA is fast becoming an outdated success metric for campaigns across paid media. But firstly, I just want to begin by telling you that my journey here began in PPC, so working really closely within the Google and Bing search landscape, bidding on numerous keywords, serving really creative text ads with 35 character limit at the time, and then measuring the return on those clicks based on what we got back for it, which was normally in the form of a lead or a sale. Now, I can also tell you that the paid search landscape over the past few years has changed drastically. The rise of mobile search, video consumption, social media channels, and ultimately people-based marketing has meant that there's a growing pressure for advertisers to be everywhere their audience is and not just on that final Google search. Last year, digital ad spend as a whole recorded growth of 14.3%, up to £14.5 billion. This is the 8th consecutive year of growth and is forecast to continue for the next 2 years at least. Professional services company RPC showed that revenue from the top 20 online-only retailers increased by 23% last year. Online-only retailers are fast building strong brands and consuming more and more market share, which has not only meant that the pay-per-click landscape is now more saturated than ever, but has also meant that our consumers are literally swamped with choice. The key to building a strong brand is to be present at every stage of the funnel, from awareness right through to when someone is ready to take action. Now, upper funnel activity has become so much more accessible via paid media over the past few years, and equally as measurable too. And for us as marketers, that's really exciting. We love branding. It's a chance for us to get really creative. So we can get you the right audience, we can help you compose the right message, and then we'll give you the right platform to target those people on. However, 9 out of 10 times when I'm proposing upper funnel activity, the question that I'll hear is something along the lines of, what will be my CPA on that? Or what's my ROI on that campaign? And I don't doubt this is unfamiliar to many other marketers too. So the question is, should we be measuring upper funnel activity on a last click CPA? Should every piece of activity we do be valued the same by default? So I just want to show you something now.
I can be a pretty cynical guy. The one thing that really keeps me going are these wild places that are the real soul of this country. A great part of my life I've been climbing and fishing and hunting on public lands. I've been a successful businessman because of the lessons I learned in the outdoors. My business was built on having wild places. Public lands have never been more threatened than right now because you have a few self-serving politicians that want to sell them off and make money. Behind the politicians are the energy companies and the big corporations that want to use up those natural resources. It's just greed. This belongs to us. This belongs to all of the people in America. It's our heritage. I hope my kids and grandkids will have the same experiences that I have. Our Secretary of the Interior, Zinke, has said he believes in public lands. Let's hold him to it. Let's not let him back down on that.
What do you guys think? Initial thoughts? Yeah? Great, yeah, exactly. I actually felt really personally emotionally drawn to this. And for those that don't know, Patagonia is an outdoor clothing and apparel brand who supply gear for things such as skiing, trekking, climbing, and other outdoor pursuits. And what I just showed you was Patagonia's first ever television advert. And it was aired just days before the Trump administration sat down to debate the downgrading of 27 national monuments, 2 of which have already been affected. So from a branding perspective, these guys spent nearly $700,000 to not advertise their products. There's no mention of stores, there's no mention of sales, discounts. I would say that apparel is probably the least noticeable thing in this video. So for Patagonia, I think the aim here was to create a stance for their brand that they truly believed in, which in turn resonates with their target audience. If I had a passion for trekking, say, and buying from these guys meant that I was supporting the protection of national monuments, then it seems like a no-brainer to buy from these guys over some other competitor who maybe didn't have a stance at all. So ultimately, an uplift in sales is a knock-on effect for a campaign like this, but by no means at its core. Now, I'm not saying go out and spend $700,000 on an advertising campaign that highlights your stance on corporate responsibility or environmental awareness. What I'm trying to say is, how do Patagonia measure the success of this campaign? Is it by the number of text messages they received? I'm going to say it's highly likely. But is a byproduct an uplift in online sales in the time when the advert ran, or an uplift in in-store sales in the days that followed? But can you directly attribute a sale to that advert? At this stage, I really want to emphasise how important CPA and ROI are as overall success metrics. For a business to remain profitable, they need to generate a return on what they spend, but having a more holistic approach to your marketing spend versus the return may give you a clearer picture of what your marketing efforts are actually achieving for you. Going back to the funnel, it makes complete sense to allocate a CPA to someone who is ready to take action. However, to allocate the same CPA to someone in the awareness stage is much more difficult, and I would argue that it's incorrect to value these two people at the same price, as their intent differs so significantly. Nowadays, we have a vast array of tools to help us understand better what our media is doing for us. And if you haven't heard the term data-driven attribution, you've been living under a rock the past couple of years, because we're all talking about it, and it makes complete sense to attribute the correct value to each piece of activity. However, a custom-built data-driven attribution model is more often than not costly and resource-heavy, so it's not feasible for every single advertiser. However, Google Analytics does have a couple of reports that can help you on your journey to better understanding your upper funnel activity, and I'm going to talk you through a couple. Firstly, a great place to start is the Assisted Conversions report, and what this report does is show you a breakdown of assisted conversions by channel that you can compare to the last click conversion. But what I find most useful about this report is actually the ratio in the right-hand column, and how this works is a value closer to 0 shows that the channel had more of a part to play in the last click conversion. Value closer to 1 shows that the channel had an equal impact in assisting and the last click conversion, whereas a value that exceeds 1 shows that the channel played more of a part in assisting the final conversion. And the only thing to bear in mind with this one is that Google will stack the revenue in this report. So if someone comes in paid search, then goes through direct and then converts on organic, say for a purchase of £10, Google will attribute £10 to each of those channels. So it's just something to bear in mind when you're reporting. We can take this one step further and we can use the top conversions path report to easily visualize how a channel might impact another channel. But if you're using UTM parameters correctly, you can go even more granular here. So you could see how one campaign impacts another campaign. For example, I could see how my Facebook campaigns impact my organic or direct traffic. Or I could see how a display campaign I ran for Black Friday had an impact on my paid search campaigns. And this allows me to distribute my budget more effectively. Finally, you have the model comparison tool. And this is a great way to compare a last click attribution model to other pre-built models within GA. So for my example, I'm using last interaction, first interaction, and linear. And what you can see here actually is that social on a last interaction only has 80 conversions, but on first interaction you can see that it's got 340, and on linear around 144. Now what this shows me is that I should be investing more in social, because you can see that it has a natural impact on the overall number of conversions. And in standard reporting on a last click attribution model, we probably would have missed this. Naturally, a data-driven attribution model does follow on from here. But it's easy to miss the obvious here. Most importantly, all of those reports show that upper funnel activity does have an impact on the final conversion. All channels work together in tandem to guide users through that funnel. And without those touch points on the user's conversion journey, your revenue would be limited to what you drive through last click search when a user is ready to take action. So what makes us choose a brand? Is it familiarity, ethics, perception, a story? To drive new customer acquisition, you need awareness. And awareness is simply that, making sure that someone that may need your product or service in the future is aware of your brand. And the value of awareness cannot be measured on a CPA or ROI. What about engagement rates or traffic or likes and shares? All of those metrics are much better suited to measuring the success of an awareness campaign. Increased consumer choice, competitive marketplaces, and increased CPCs are all reasons why you should be investing in branding activity. Resonate with the right audience, and when it's time to take action, they'll be taking it with you. So if there's anything I want you to take away from my talk today, it's firstly that paid search alone will not grow your brand, especially in an increasingly competitive landscape. Secondly, identifying gaps in your strategy will enable you to pinpoint where in the funnel you may need to focus on in order to grow. This will give you a better understanding of how your upper funnel activity affects your last click conversion. So experiment with new platforms and make use of the free reports that GA has to offer. And finally, last click CPA is not the only measure of success. Thank you for listening.